Okay, so welcome to everybody that's joined today. We'll get started. Before we do so, I'd just like to do an acknowledgement to country. So the University of Newcastle acknowledges the traditional custodians of the land within our footprint area. They are the Awabakal, the Darkinjung, Biripi, Woomera, Woonara and Eora nations. We also pay respect to the wisdom of our elders past, present and emerging, and we extend this to other Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander people. So welcome to today's session. We're going to cover an introduction to open access. And this is part of a series of events we have organised this week for part of Open Access Week. So my name is Nicole. I'm Nicole Fall-Brown, and I'll be presenting today, and monitoring the chat I have my colleague Nicole Gammy. Now we are both research liaison librarians here at the library. And before I commence too far in, I'll just get, Ben's going to launch a poll for us. So if you could just answer the few questions that pop up on your screen. Thanks, Ben. Okay, while the rest finish that, I'll just cover what we're going to do today. Today, we're going to cover a bit about what is open access, what is open research. We'll go through the benefits of open access. I'll show you some open access resources. We'll talk about publishing, Creative Commons and some library support services available to you as well. Before I move on, I'll just wait for that poll to finish.
You're right to go, Nicole. I've entered the poll.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so what is open access? So open access provides a way to promote broader access to academic research outputs by scholars, students, professionals, and the general public via the internet. It is giving the immediate free of charge online access to research, which enables users to read, download, copy, print, search, and link for full text of these articles. Open access, you will find versions of articles available via archives, repositories, and open access journals. And you can actually find open access material in a lot of formats. So we'll cover and look at things today, like open access books, textbooks, and a variety of open educational resources as well. Now, another term that often gets used is open research. Now, open research extends beyond the principles of open access, and it actually applies to the whole research cycle. So it is about making all outputs of research as open and as accessible as possible. Now, these will include things like protocols, data, software, codes, and a lot more. So it's also about providing information as to be as open and as often as possible, but bearing in mind that sometimes information needs to be closed. So things like sensitive data in that kind of area would not be made open access. Now, the benefits to open access, if you're students and you're studying, open access does focus on providing access to peer-reviewed journals. So, and the journals that I'll show you today are also go through the same peer-reviewed process as any of our subscription databases. So you can be confident in using those for an assignment or research purpose. For authors and researchers, your benefits include you're unlocking opportunities for collaboration. There has research shown that you can get increase in your citation rates because open access can be viewed and cited more often than those that are behind paywalls. You allow your work to become influenced by policy, and you're increasing your visibility as well. For teaching, is equity, that if things are made open, you're using open access resources, we're ensuring that everybody can gain access to this material. For universities, we've got increased exposure to research activity, and for the community, things like the research is available for those that don't have access to subscription content, including researchers at other institutions can also access information within our open access repository. So what I want to go through this morning is show you a few resources that you can find open access material in. So I'm just going to talk through what they are first, and then I'll show you how to get to them on the internet. First up is Lean Library. Our Lean Library is a web browser extension, which we have access to via the university library web pages. Now it's available for most web browsers, so most of your common ones there, Chrome, Firefox, Safari, you'll be able to install this. What it does is allow you install the plugin, and it actually allows you to link through to our subscription-based material whilst you're off campus. And then it'll pop up with a little side box, and you can click this box and it just brings up the PDF of that article for you. Next one is a website called Unpayable. Now it's a web browser plugin, and it provides you with access to more than 20 million open access articles that have been harvested from over 50,000 publishers. Now it'll pop out similar to Lean Library, which we'll look at shortly, and it has a little green padlock, and when that turns green and it opens, it'll be telling you that you do have access to this content. Another one is the open access button. Now it's a browser extension that you can add as well. It is also a search. You can search via the site as well. So if you find an article and you can't get access, you can actually type in the title and it'll find whether there's an open access version for you. We've got the directory of open access journals, which is a independent database. Now it contains over 16,000 peer-reviewed open access journals, which cover the areas of science, medicine, social sciences, arts, and humanities. Directory of open access books. Again, a community-driven service, and it has access to scholarly peer-reviewed open access books, and it contains over 44,000 academic peer-reviewed books from over 600 publishers. We've got the Open Educational Resources Open Textbook Platform, and it's also got hundreds of free open license textbooks in a variety of publishers as well. I'm just going to open my web browser. So I've opened a few of these, and we'll post the links to these in the chat. The first app is Lean Library, which will say we're on the library homepage, library page. If we select the access, you'll come to this page, and here you'll see Lean Library. So as we said, it's a one-click access to gain access to the library subscription and open access full text journals and ebooks, whether you're wherever you're located, whether you're here or on campus or off. To install Lean Library, you just scroll down to the bottom, click this link, take you to a web page, and you'll just choose the browser that you're on, add that plugin. When you get to this screen here, just make sure that you choose the University of Newcastle, because it'll make sure that that's syncing through to allow you access to our subscription. And then you'll have a little button up the top. I'll just turn off my camera so that this should appear now. What you'll end up with is some icons up the top here in the right-hand corner of your screen. So this one's a little grey one with looks like a little U in it, and that one is Lean Library. So once you've installed it, it sits there. Okay. The next one is Unpaywall, and it simply just pops up here like this. And again, as a plugin, I'm on Firefox today, but this changes no matter which one you're actually using. So click this, it adds in again as well. And you'll see it is the black one here with the padlock on it. The last plugin we've got here today is the Open Access button. So again, it's just openaccessbutton.org. You can search, or you can come down here and say you want to put the extension on, and it just downloads. And it is the last one I've got here, which is the orange with the padlock that's open. Now, it also enables you to search via article URL, a DOI, or a title. So I'm just going to paste in a title. So this is an article. And if I just type that in now and say search, okay, so that one is not there. Must be this one. So it tells us, so that's an example that can't find it. So we're just going to go back, pop this other one in. No, they were there yesterday, sorry. Okay, so you can paste in a DOI as well, and when it finds it, you notice there that those two weren't available, but this one is. So it tells us this article is freely available, and we just click here on the link. It'll take us through. We just log in. This one is your university ID. Okay, and then it opens up as a PDF for you. And that's found the open access version. Now, if you're just searching Google and I paste in that same DOI, what we should see with the open access things is that these will change color as it finds them. So let's just click on one. Now the Lean Library one pops out as a big box to say whether it can find it via our subscription content, but you can see our open access button now. We've got this green icon here on the side, and it's telling us that it's green, so it's found an open access version. And this big box that's just taken its time, but it's popped up now too. You'll see that it's now green in our top bar, and it's saying that you have access to this via the UON. You now have access to this via the UON library. So you can install as many of those plugins as you like, and there is more out there other than the 3 I've shown you this morning. it can be handy because you can see out of the 3 we've put on today, Lean Library has found this and the Open Access has found it, but the unpaywall may not have. So sometimes you'll find it via some and not via others. So it's okay to have more than one installed, but that's how they work. They just, as you search for things, whether you're on Google, if it can link you back to an open access version, or Lean Library can link you back to the university subscription, they will just pop out here on the side like this. So the other ones we've talked about here are the directory of open access journals. So you can search for a journal, or you can actually search for articles. So I can say I want to now search for an article on, we'll just go on climate change. And we'll say we want it in the title so it doesn't find too many. Okay, that'll load here, and you'll see it tells us in this middle screen here, here's the article, and I just click read online. It will then launch me out to the article. And you'll see here it's taken me out to an open access version, and I can download that PDF from there. You have other options within here to refine your search. So you can say, I wanted to know about climate change where it locates to education, and it filters that search down for you. You can add journals and years. Okay. The other thing that you can do here, which is if we go back to journal search and say we want to search for journals, this one's handy if you're looking to publish or just looking to find out some detail about a journal that you've used. If we click on journal, we can see that there are over 17,000 indexed journals here within this one. What we see, so if we wanted to know now about this top one, so again, you've got the limit to subject areas if you want to look at, or you can type in a title to look at a specific one. But today, if I just wanted to know about Microbiology Independent Research Journal, if I click on this, what it tells me is that if I was looking to publish in this journal, there is no publication fees to publish within this journal. It has a Creative Commons license, which I'll talk through a bit shortly. The publisher, so you would always link out and actually have a look at the publisher website and read through this lookup, and this should all be written on the publisher's site as well. So we're looking at the aims. What does it need us to do if we want to write with them? Who are the editorial board, and what happens as a peer review process? You've got copyright and subject areas as well, and how long it actually takes from when you submit a publication through to when it will actually be published, and what their policies are as well. So that one's handy if you're looking for both journals in terms of wanting to know a bit about them for publishing, whether you want to see, if I knew that this one was really great and I wanted to see what articles it had, you can just see here that there's an articles tab, and it tells me within the directory of open access journals, we've got 62 index articles written within this that are here. So if I knew this was a great journal for my research, I could look it up, come here and look at the articles that are also written within there as well. So that's open access journals. We have also open access books, which is this one, directory of open access books. Again, similar, you can see it's got peer-reviewed books from over 600 publishers. You can search directly by a title, or you can just scroll down here and see what's available in each of the sections. So if I wanted to do crime and criminology, I could click this. And you'll see here there's 67 titles around this subject area. you've got, again, you can limit by your subjects if you've got a publisher. But to view these, we just click on the title. And you'll see the download URLs over here on the side and whether there's a license, what licenses are applied to the book. So it's always handy to look at that type of information as you're reading and knowing what you can do with the resource. And because I've got that one that's popped out now on the side is still our Lean Library, telling us that there is a free version, which we know because we're actually on it, but that it's also recognised that there's a version of this available for us. So I'll just close that down. The next one that we had on the slide was the Open Educational Resources Commons. And they have a variety of information within them. But what I wanted to show you this morning was open textbooks. So similar to open access books, you'll see that you can come down, browse by subject area. So if I wanted to know what was available for law textbooks. Okay, again, you'll see it's got the Creative Commons license applied, and which tells you what you can do with that material. And if I click the title, and we'll have view resource at the top. Okay. Lastly, but not least, the library catalogue also has, so I'm back on the library homepage now. And if I still did a search into the library catalogue, we'll stick with climate change. If I hopefully scroll down for a couple, you can see there that the library catalogue also tells us whether material is available via open access as well. So you'll see this little icon written in the catalogue varies throughout it, and that'll be telling you there's a free copy available as well where it can find one. The catalogue's going to give you access to our subscription databases as well. So you probably wouldn't want to turn this on, but there is actually, though, you can only see what's available open access. But because this is giving you subscription content as well, you'd also want to keep both on. But that option is there, and that you can find things through the catalogue as well. I'm just going to go back to our slides. So we mentioned a little bit about publishing. Open access in terms of looking up the directory of open access journals. But there are a variety of ways that can be published open access. So they can be achieved via a few models that we'll talk about now. That is green open access, which is our first one. Now, the author can put a full text version of their article, which has been accepted for publication in a journal, and that copy can also be deposited in an institutional repository and be freely available as well. Now, our repository that I've mentioned, and I'll show you again shortly, is called Nova. Other examples where green open access can occur is something like PubMed Central. And the next one is gold open access, and that's where an author publishes in an open access journal, and the publisher's website provides free access to the research article. But in this model, the author may or may not be required to pay a fee. So sometimes the publisher will charge what's called an article processing fee, and that's what an author will have to pay to make their work open access on that publisher's site. Diamond open access refers to journals that are free for readers and free for authors to publish in, and these are often community-driven or supported by institutions. Another one is called hybrid open access, where authors pay a fee to publish their material on a publisher's website. and it often refers to immediate open access of papers in subscription-based journals as well. Now, there's a bit of information here on our library website. So I'm just going to come back to the library. So we're back on the library homepage. If I come down here to researcher support, and here you'll see open access. It's a bit of information here around what is it and what type of services there is, but there's also an open access guide, which is the one I wanted to show you here. So this guide goes through a bit about what we've talked about today. You'll find all of the links to the resources that I've just showed you under Discover and finding open access resources. So you can see here we've looked at Lean Library, Unpayable, open access button, and you've directories, you've got your open access books and journals, and there's a variety of other information here that's useful to look at. Under Engage, there's a tab here called Open Research at the University of Newcastle. You'll find a little bit of information here around Nova, which is our, as I mentioned, our institutional repository. We talked about institutions that have journals. So we have an ePress and support services to host and journals. So examples of open access journals at the University of Newcastle are these three. We also, if you're publishing, there we have an institutional membership discounts with Biomed Central and MDPI, which you'll find here. There's also transformative agreements. So from 2021, Newcastle researchers can publish articles for free as open access in this list of CSIRO journals. And there's a bit more information on a PDF here about what you'd need to know if that's something that you're looking at doing. So engaging, we've also got links to ARC and NHMRC requirements and other funders. Practice, we have a bit about publishing open access. So again, it'll be a bit about what we talked about earlier. The repository open access is where you'll find a bit more detail about Nova, our institutional repository. And a few weeks ago, we were in one of these webinars, which is linked within here too. So if you're looking more around what is Nova and what to do, you can have a look at this page as well. So the next bit is, we saw all those licenses on those resources there before about Creative Commons. So whether you're going to publish your work or you've noticed those icons on any of those open access books, Creative Commons is something that's worthy of knowing about. And we'll post a link to this in the chat, but we'll go through a couple of the licenses that are available that you'll see mentioned on things. The Creative Commons is a license that allows the reuse with some conditions of work, but also protects an author's right and acknowledgement at the same time. So it gives everyone from individuals, creators and large institutions a standardized way to grant the public permission to use their work under copyright law. So there's 6 licenses that can be covered. So these are the type of things you'll see. So we've got CC and BY. So the B, CC is always Creative Commons. So you know that's what the type of license is. But the BY stands for credit must be given to the creator. So if you see this symbol here on a work, what it means is that as a reuser, you can distribute, remix, adapt, and build upon the material in any medium, as long as you've given attribution to the creator when you've done so. The second one is we're building on this one. So we're still giving attribution to the creator. And the SA, it stands for adaptations must be shared under the same term. So if you see this, you can reuse, distribute, adapt, and build upon the material in any format, as long as attribution is given to the creator. And this license allows for commercial use. If you adapt or build upon it, you must license the modified material under the identical term. The next one is, again, our author attribution, and NC stands for only non-commercial use of the work is permitted. So this one, again, allows you to distribute, adapt, and build upon it in a medium or format for non-commercial purposes only, as long as attribution is given to the creator. The fourth one is, you can see we've combined those other two now. So this one is, we're giving credit to the creator. We're not going to, non-commercial use of this work is permitted, and adaptations must be shared under the same terms. So it allows the adaptation and reuse in any medium or format for non-commercial owners, non-commercial purposes, as long as attribution is given to the creator. And if you build upon that material, you need to use the same license. The fifth one is the by ND. So again, credit is given to the creator. ND stands for no derivatives or adaptations of the work is permitted. So if you can only copy and distribute the material in an unadapted form, and you need to give credit to the author when you've done that. The last one, again, you can notice they've all said that we have to give credit to the creator. The NC is the non-commercial use of the work, and ND is the no derivatives or adaptations to the work. So again, we can copy and distribute the material in any medium in an unadapted form only for non-commercial purposes, as long as we've given credit to the author. So that's kind of a bit of a brief whirlwind there of Creative Commons. There's a lot more information on their website. So if you're going to look at publishing, you might open access, you could apply, have a look and see which a license applies to you to apply to your work. And if you're studying and you see this, you can also go to that website to define what it is you can do with that work once you've got it. Lastly, I wanted to mention Orchid. So Orchid stands for an Open Researcher and Contributor ID. It's a free and unique permanent identifier controlled by you that distinguishes your work from others. Now, it can also be linked to other author profiles like Scopus, Web of Science, and if you're a PhD or staff at the university, you would link this into your Neuro profile as well. So we do, if you're looking at publishing anyway, we do highly recommend that you set up an Orchid and then connect it to your other profiles. And if you're going to submit a publication or you're applying for a grant, it would always add this to your work as well. If I just go back to the library homepage now, there is, again, under researcher support, we're on Orchid. Okay, and it tells you again what I've just mentioned about what it is and why you'd want one, how to register and connect. So we would register for an Orchid, we connect it to these profiles as well. And there's also a guide. I click this link here, which tells you a bit about what you can do within each of the profiles. And if we click on Orchid, you've got the detailed step-by-step detail again here on how to connect Orchid to Scopus, Web of Science, how to create it, and how to add records. So we would highly recommend setting one up and then connecting it to your Scopus and Web of Science accounts. It just helps bring all your research in together, and it can be harvested well by other platforms if you've linked everything together. Okay, and To close off, I'd just like to tell you about some other events happening this week for Open Access Week. So if you come to the library homepage, you'll see the big banner at the front here. If I click on what's on, we are currently running a competition where you can win a coffee machine and a bag of coffee. To enter that competition, just share a tweet and say why open access is important, what it means to you, and tag UON Lib and UON Nova with the hashtag of OA Week 2021 to go in the draw. It opened yesterday, will close on Sunday, and we will announce a winner on the 4th of November. Now, this competition is only open to the University of Newcastle staff and students. This is today's webinar, but tomorrow we have our colleagues in the GLAM lab and the special collections participating in an open access Australasia panel, which is about what different disciplines can learn from each other in the open access discussion. On Thursday, we have another one of our colleagues from Special Collections, Kua Swan, who is presenting the Decolonising Digital Collections session. And on Friday, if you want to learn a bit more about open educational resources that we briefly touched on today, you can join Anthony O'Brien, our copyright advisor, and Ruth Cameron, our digital library programs coordinator, to talk about OERs and the copyright considerations that need to be applied there as well. And that is all from me. I'll just stop sharing my screen, and Ben's just launched our other poll. Thank you. Okay, and was there any questions at all?
There was one, Nicole, asking about imagery. Can one use images that are more restrictive than BY ND within a CC by licensed article? And I suggested that they might like to talk to Anthony, basically the copyright advisor, just to make sure there's no hassles with those images.
Yes, yeah. If you're using that in a research or publication, Anthony, who is our copyright advisor, would be your best option there. So you can email a copy. It is copyright@newcastle.edu.au, and he will be your best port of call to answer that question.
That was the only one that came up. And there was also a request for all the links, and I said we'd send that out in the post-webinar email, just links to Lean Library and the other ones that you mentioned as well. So.
Okay, yep, all right, we can do that. So, well, thank you very much for joining us today. We hope you can join in on some of our other sessions later this week. Thank you.